Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing public hearing here at the University of Cincinnati. Before we get started and get into introductions and I hand the meeting over to the co-chairs, I wanted to bring up a special guest for welcoming remarks and to welcome everyone both here in the audience and for those that are watching through our webcast. They're welcome to Cincinnati. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Ron Davis. I am the Director of the Department of Justice Cops Office and the Executive Director for the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing. At this time, let me introduce you to the Police Chief for the great city of Cincinnati. That'll be Chief Jeffrey Blackwell for some opening remarks. Now I'll turn to the stage to Chief Blackwell at this time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Director. Is this on? Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you all for coming out today. We're honored in Cincinnati to have this illustrious group choose our city to hold these critically important discussions. We're just honored. I think the history of Cincinnati bodes well for the dialogue that's going to take place not only today, but in Phoenix and in the other cities that are chosen. And ultimately, hopefully, the great residents of this city will have some input in the final report that the President is requiring. So we're excited. I'm excited. The men and women of Cincinnati PD are honored to have you all here. Chuck Ramsey, Chief of the second best police department in the nation, behind Cincinnati. So thank you all.
Thank you, Chief Blackwell. We had an opportunity to talk to Chief earlier this morning, and just on behalf of the task force, we are very excited and about the great work that's being done in Cincinnati, the things you're doing to advance community policing. And Chief, we look forward to hearing much more about Cincinnati and your program successes in Phoenix when we have our talk about our topical areas on crime reduction and community policing. So we look forward to that, sir, and thank you and your team for being here. As stated before, I'm the Executive Director for the task force. In that capacity, the Department of Justice is providing the administrative support for this task force. Let me just go back before I introduce the co-chairs. On December 1st, President Obama made clear his intent to form a task force on 21st century policing to do two things. One, to identify concrete recommendations on how to build trust, but the President was very clear while at the same time ensuring that we keep this downward trajectory of our crime reductions that we as a profession, policing, and as a country together have achieved. To do this, he named, we could think of no two better names that he came up with to lead this illustrious group of 11 task force members, and that is Philadelphia Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey and Professor Laurie Robinson, who also is the former Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Justice Programs in the Department of Justice. And so they have been tasked with leading this group, and we're having a series of discussions around the country, listening. And before we go to our panels, let me turn it to our co-chairs to take the control of the meeting. And I want to thank them ahead of time for their leadership. On behalf of the President, I want to thank you and the audience, for those watching, for the input you've provided, for taking the time to pay attention to such important things that are going on in the country, and for the input that you're going to provide in the future. So with that, I'll turn it over to the co-chairs.
Thank you. I'm Laurie Robinson, professor at George Mason University. And I first of all want to thank Ron Davis and his terrific group at the COPS office for providing what's really been wonderful staffing assistance to us. And I want to welcome everyone here in Cincinnati to the first day of our listening session. The Policing Task Force, as Ron said, has been charged by the President in coming up with proposals on what's a very short timeline. Our due date to have these recommendations on the President's desk is March 2nd. And he's asked for concrete proposals for steps to strengthen community policing and also to build trust between police and the communities that they serve. In those jurisdictions where challenges exist, we know that they did not develop overnight, and we're certainly under no illusion that our recommendations are going to serve as quick fix solutions. And for any of us who've been in this business over time, we know that it's going to take a lot of hard work and a commitment to being in this for the long haul. But it's clear that there are ways forward and that there are a lot of people committed to leading the way there. So it's good that we have with us today a very strong group of witnesses from academia, community representatives, folks from law enforcement groups, and from the civil rights and legal communities. We really appreciate very much your being here to share your recommendations with us. I know that getting to Cincinnati is not necessarily the easiest thing. So with that, I also want to thank our task force members for being here today. We have a wonderfully strong team. I felt I probably should use a sports analogy with its being Super Bowl weekend. And they'll all be introducing themselves in a minute. But I first want to turn to our terrific co-chair, Philadelphia Commissioner Chuck Ramsey. Chuck?
Thanks, Laurie, and it's really an honor and a privilege for me to be here with you today. I'm Charles Ramsey, the Police Commissioner, Philadelphia Police Department. I've had the honor of serving in Philadelphia for the past 7 years. Prior to that, I served as police chief in Washington, D.C. for approximately 9 years. And I began my police career in the Chicago Police Department. I'm a native Chicagoan. I spent 30 years as a member of the Chicago Police Department. I'm also currently the president of the Police Executive Research Forum. We'll hear from the executive director of that organization later on this morning. When the president first called and talked about the need for us to form this task force to take a critical look at many of the issues affecting law enforcement today, I jumped at the opportunity. Obviously, this is a challenging time for us in law enforcement. It's long overdue that we're really taking a look at many of the things going on currently in policing. We're not here to talk or focus on any one city or one incident, but rather take a much broader look at the profession, relationships with community, how we can improve, how we can strengthen, and how we can build on some of the successes that we've had in the past. Quite a challenge, especially to undertake in 90 days, but it's doable. It's something that I feel very strongly, and I'm honored to work alongside Laurie Robinson with her wealth of experience, as well as the other task force members, that we can put together concrete recommendations. But we certainly, as Laurie said, don't expect that in 90 days we're going to solve every problem. It's not going to happen that way. There has to be things that occur after to continue moving forward. But this is a solid first step. And I think today's hearing, today we're focusing on policy and oversight. We had a tremendous hearing a couple of weeks ago in Washington, D.C., building trust and legitimacy within communities, and we'll have another in a couple of weeks in Phoenix, Arizona, and followed by a final hearing in Washington, D.C. All these things coming together will lead us to a report that will be on the President's desk March 2nd, as he has requested. It's my honor now to introduce the other members of the task force. And as they introduce themselves, one thing you will see, and it's something the President insisted upon, and that is that we bring together a very diverse group of people who have different perspectives on issues. That's going to strengthen our report even more. And I think you'll be very impressed as they begin to talk a little bit about themselves, and you'll hear from them even more as the panels conclude and the questions begin being asked. So let me start with Dr. Cedric Alexander to my far right, and then we'll go right down the line with each panel member, skipping Ron, Laurie, and myself, obviously, and then going right to Sue Rohr.
Great, thank you, sir. Good morning and welcome. I'm Dr. Cedric Alexander. Currently, I serve as Public Safety Director in DeKalb County, Georgia. Been there for the last couple of years. Also, over the last 37 years of my career, I've had the opportunity to work in both local, state, and the federal system as well, too. I'm also currently national president of NOBLE, National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. And also academically, I trained about 45 miles from here over in Dayton at Wright State University, where I did my doctoral work in clinical psychology. I'm a clinical psychologist by training. So thank you and welcome this morning as well, too.
Good morning. My name is Jose Lopez, lead organizer at Make the Road New York, a New York City and New York State-based nonprofit that works on a number of issues. And three of the issues that I primarily focus on through the organizations are the issues of police accountability and police violence, but also issues of housing rights and workers' rights. As an organization, we're a member of CPR, Communities United for Police Reform, an unprecedented campaign in New York City that focuses on police reforms within the New York Police Department. And we're also working in partnership with the CUNY Graduate Center and the Public Science Project, working with a team of 12 youth researchers to understand and collect data on the impact that the Stop and Frisk program in New York City has had on young people between the ages of 14 and 24.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tracy Meares. I am a law professor at Yale University. Before arriving at Yale a few years ago, I taught at the University of Chicago Law School for about 15 years. My area of expertise is criminal law and criminal procedure, and I've studied the intersection of community trust and policing with an emphasis on the social psychology of procedural justice for the last several years with some of the people at this table and some of you in this room, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
Good morning. I'm Lee Rahr from Seattle, Washington area. Go Hawks. Had to get that in there sometime today. My career began in 1979. I was hired by the King County Sheriff's Office, worked as a road deputy, spent the next 33 years with the Sheriff's Office, working my way up through the ranks. My last 7 years, I was the elected sheriff. Little did I know at that time that was my training for my current position, which is the director of the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission, also known as the Police Academy. We train all the local officers in the state, about 10,000 of them, and I'm just thrilled to have the opportunity to listen to all of the input and consider what we can do to better prepare our next generation of police officers to be safe and keep the community safe. Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Connie Rice. I'm a civil rights attorney who for 20 years sued LAPD every chance she got, but now am a partner of Chief Beck's. I have worked diligently for the last 15 years on getting LAPD turned around, and ladies and gentlemen, I've got good news. It worked. We're almost there. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shawn Smooth. I'm the Director and Chief Counsel for the Police Benevolent and Protective Association of Illinois. I'm also the Treasurer of the National Association of Police Organizations. I about 20 years, my professional life, the last 20 years has been devoted towards advocating on behalf of rank and file police officers at the bargaining table, at the state capitol, in Washington, and in court. I very much want to express my appreciation to the President for convening this task force, and appreciate the leadership of Ron Davis and the help of his staff at the COPS office, and the excellent leadership of our co-chairs, Robinson and Ramsey. Look forward to working with, hearing your testimony, and also working with my fellow task force members to come up with some real practical recommendations that will, I think we all share the same ultimate goal, which is making everyone safer, police officers and citizens. So thank you very much for being here.
Good morning. My name is Bryan Stevenson. I'm the director of the Equal Justice Initiative in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm also a civil rights lawyer, a criminal defense lawyer. I've spent most of my career representing people on death row, people in jails and prisons, I teach at the New York University School of Law as well. My focus is racial justice, punishment, criminal justice reform, policing, and dealing with the consequences of mass incarceration and excessive punishment. I just want to also express my gratitude to COPS and all of the organizers of this convening, and my welcome to the guests and to those who are testifying. We really look forward to your testimony. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. My name is Roberto Villaseñor. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Tucson, Arizona. I also am very honored to be part of this panel, and I can't wait to take part in the proceedings and help to contribute for some of the topics we're going to discuss. I'm also the president of the Arizona Association of Chiefs of Police, and I'm the treasurer for Police Executive Research Forum and a member of Major Cities Chief. But more importantly, I've been a police officer for 35 years. I've worked at every rank in the profession, and I know the difficulties that police officers face, and I know the problems that often happen between communities and police officers, and I hope to bring that experience to bear in our discussions.